All right, everyone, welcome to Simply Bitcoin. We break down the news from Twitter, the daily fail, meme review, software releases, hardware releases, websites by plebes or plebs. Joining us today, fellow Bitcoiner, very special guest, Jordan Beecher. And before he joins in, we're going to head on over to the numbers. Let's do it.
Number time.
At the time of this recording, the block height is 701,903. The Bitcoin price, 44,415. Chain rewrite days, 839. Total public lightning capacity, 2,782.87. Nice. That's definitely a new all-time high. Sats per dollar, 2,251. And blocks to the halvening, 138,097.
Dude, the Lightning Network
interesting.
has me bullish. Other than that, it's boring AF. It's been 162 days since the all-time high.
Yeah,
almost half a year, dude. That's pretty wild, right? In Bitcoin time, you know, it feels like 50, but yeah, that Lightning Network capacity, man. The Bitcoin's just channeling. That thing just keeps going up, dude. That's the signal right there, because we want that lightning capacity really, really high, because at the end of the day, the base layer of Bitcoin it's just not enough. If Bitcoin wants to be the global reserve currency, right, has to be on a second layer. You can't be having people just buying small things on the base layer. If Bitcoin reaches, the market cap that we think it's going to reach, I'm not even going to say the number, right? But it's just not going to make sense to pay for things on the base layer. It's going to be too expensive, right? It's slow, To use Roger Ver's words, you can't just buy coffee with it, So the Lightning Network is crucial for that. So I like to see that. What do you think, Phil?
You know what this the conversation that we have around the numbers, what it makes me realize? It makes me realize why so many channels shill hopium. That's what it makes me realize, because really, most of the time Bitcoin is just essentially building a base layer, right? It's like that's what it's doing every 10 minutes, right? Every single day, that's what it's doing. It's building that base layer of security, and it's very uninteresting. For the most part, it stays flat, it accumulates, and then it moves up and it does these face-ripping moves that are just completely insane. And if you don't sit there and shill all kinds of mysterious technical analysis hopium, nobody really cares. Thank God, like you said, thank God for the Lightning Network, right? Because that's actually interesting, and that's a fun mysterious. It's not like a technical analysis mysterious.
Well, it's either the TA
nothing for anyone.
Either the TA crutch or the shitcoin crutch, right?
Oh yeah.
It's one of the two. It's one of the two. But hey, guys, I just want to mention something before we move on to the next segment. Phil shaved today, and I think he looks absolutely fabulous. Pound that like button if you like Phil shaved. But anyways, Phil, it's time for
the Daily Fail, sponsored by
Pirate Hash.
Bitcoin.org site appears to be hacked and is promoting Bitcoin giveaways. That's right, the website. Bitcoin itself didn't get hacked. It's just the website, and yeah, let's dive into it here. Bitcoin.org, the oldest Bitcoin education resource site registered in 2008, appears to have been compromised and is currently promoting dubious Bitcoin giveaways. Yes, sending somebody your Bitcoin, there's no chance that they're sending you back double, okay? It's just not happening. I know, I want to believe it too. Believe me, I want to believe that I could send somebody 5 Bitcoins and get back, okay, 10. I want to believe that, trust me. But it's just not, it's not happening. Anyways, users first started to notice and share on Twitter early Thursday morning that the homepage of Bitcoin.org is now displaying a pop-up page that asks users to send Bitcoin to a dedicated address with promises they will receive a doubled amount in return, which they obviously won't. That's right, you won't. Neither will I. None of us will. All right, so here's an example of what it looks like. All other subpages on Bitcoin.org are not functional, as the current homepage does not allow the user to click through to any other pages, such as the PDF version of the Bitcoin white paper. The direct URL for the Bitcoin white paper on bitcoin.org also shows 404 not found. So the address that's displayed on the site right now has received 40% of a Bitcoin. That's terrible. Anyways, worth about $17,000 over the past hour, but it's unclear if it's from any victim that fell for it. Yep, that sucks. Look, it's just a website. What everybody needs to remember is that, you know, like I said during the reading, no one's going to give you back double your Bitcoin. No one's going to give you back double your shitcoins either. Okay, shitcoin scammers do this too. When I was a shitcoin idiot, I got scammed by one of these things because I wanted free tokens. So I'm like, oh yeah, sure, why not? I'll take a chance. And they're dirt cheap, and I had so many of them, right? Unit bias, I had so many, right? So who cares? Sure, you'll take a chance. Why not? You'll send somebody 20,000 of some shitcoin. What are your thoughts, Nico?
When you said 40% of a Bitcoin, you know, I was doing it. I was doing the SAT, you know, exchange rate, which
40 million.
40 million. You, by the way, guys, get used to that, right? When you say it's easy, right? One Bitcoin is 100 million, right? There's 100 million sats, right? So if it's 0.4, it's 40 million. If it's 0.02, it's 2 million. If it's 0.002, it's 200,000, right? It's pretty easy if you start using it. But the bullish part about that, right, just as kind of a side note, right, is that 40 million sats is 17 grand. Holy cow. That I remember, dude, buying, oh my God.
I know, don't even.
Remember the days, dude, that you could buy that and it was like affordable? Man, holy cow. Man. Okay, anyways. Okay, but in relation to the topic, listen, this could have been a lot worse. They could have just put, you know, a malicious Bitcoin Core software in there. People could have downloaded that, you know, and if they put Bitcoin on there, potentially got their Bitcoin stolen, and they would have downloaded that software directly from bitcoin.org, which highlights the fact that every time you download a Bitcoin wallet, like whether it's Electrum or Wasabi, you should get into the habit of verifying the PGP keys. Okay, you have to verify that the software actually comes from, you know, the known developer, right? And, you know,
do that with anything.
Exactly.
I mean, Linux software, all that stuff. If it's got a PGP verification, you should do it, because you don't know these days. There's so many different things. You could have something hacked in your browser and not even know it. You punch in something and it goes to something else.
Exactly. So, you know, exactly what Jordan said. You know, but most people don't do that. Right, so that could have been a lot worse of an attack. It was like kind of an attack that's been used for so long, so I don't know how many people benefited from that. It could have been the hacker that already put 0.4 in there just to entice people to, you know, kind of put more money in. I don't know, right? But that's kind of like an old scam. Like, it could have been used a lot more maliciously, and at the same time, you know, just to kind of you know, this is kind of like a drop the ball moment from the core developers, you know, or whoever was maintaining that website, you know, because Bitcoin Core, at the end of the day, that is where people go to download the Bitcoin Core software. At the end of the day, that, you know, that does highlight, right, part of, you know, the issue with, you know, centralization, right? Of course, you could always go to the GitHub, right? But most people, especially if you're a noob, right, you know, that's the website you go to. What do you think, Jordan?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they were kind enough to put right above that QR code that they were only going to take money from 10,000 people.
So you just have to be 10,001.
Yeah,
you just have to be that lucky, that part of that lucky subset, right?
And then they would.
How do we know when they got to 10K?
Then they would have doubled their coins. They would have doubled your coins.
Verified. It's been audited.
It's been audited. Oh,
that's right. You got to respect the auditors, Jordan.
Yeah,
we know that.
Man, yeah. the smart contract, shitcoin auditors, those guys do. I don't know why they exist, to be honest.
They have their own shitcoins. Think of it like this, right? Like QuantStamp, right? So you're an auditing. So like, I mean, just imagine, right? Like, that's like an accountant having their own token that you pay that accountant in. Okay, like that's like having notary coin. Like, so what's the point? So you have audit token.
So like,
supposed to be an insurance token or something that turned out to be a scam too, not long ago.
Yeah,
there's so many tokens by now with so many different names. But you know, there might be a slight conflict of interest if you are the auditor and you have your own token. Just saying. Anyways, Phil, what's the next fail?
All right. Well, here we go. This is going to be interesting, and is kind of we're gonna. Anyways, it's an article from today, but it kind of there's some historical reference with Bitcoin. So let's dive in. So Gavin Andreessen, who was, if I'm not mistaken, he was essentially the person that was handed over the janitorial rights for the Bitcoin repository long ago from Satoshi. Anyways, he has since obviously fallen very far from grace. Okay, very far. Anyways, put out this article. I think this was shared in the Taco Carnivore Bitcoin Pleb group or Bitcoin Eruption. I'm not really sure. And I figured, you know what? I'll dive into this because I'm sure that it's going to be full of nonsense.
Wait, pause real quick, Phil.
Sure.
Remember what I told you guys about people with sunglasses in their profile pictures? Never trust someone who wears sunglasses in their profile picture. I'm telling
They
you.
can't have laser eyes anyways.
Man, anyways. Sorry, Phil.
No, don't be.
This is just an observation.
This
An
is a very
experience.
oh, absolutely. This is a very short article, okay? But it doesn't let us down. This is the article published September 21st. A possible BTC future. Take this as a little piece of science fiction. The chances the future looks like this are small, but of all the possible futures, I think this has as good a chance of any of happening. Imagine it's the year 2061. Most BTC transactions don't happen on the BTC network. Most BTC is locked up in multi-signature outputs secured using multi-party computation and mirrored on another chain as wrapped tokens. People move their BTC either because they want faster transactions, lower fees, or more privacy, or want to invest their BTC in decentralized financial stuff. Maybe all of the above. The transactions that do occur on the main BTC network are high level, mostly between super whale size holders, centralized exchanges, central banks, and the decentralized multi-party computation addresses that hold all the wrapped coins. These whales maintain the BTC network forever. They are the miners and the transaction creators. They don't care how high transaction fees go because they receive as many fees as they pay. In the year 2100, the whales notice that the mining reward is basically zero, and there are fewer and fewer transactions happening on the slow, expensive, zero privacy BTC network. You see what he's doing here? He's inserting all his shitcoin narratives. Anyways, so they decide to simplify and save money by shutting it down. One by one, they shut down the bridges that move BTC between chains. Between chains. Anyways, then they burn any BTC locked on the BTC chain by sending it to a 0x address to make sure nobody can ever spend it on the BTC network. Eventually, there are 0 new BTC being produced on the BTC network and 0 BTC circulating on the BTC network. There is nothing left to secure and the chain stops. But 20 or so million BTC live on, circulating on other chains, on other blockchains. Valuable because there are a limited number of them and because BTC was the first scarce digital asset. What the fuck? I mean,
Dreaming.
Don't get me wrong, but did he just completely ignore the existence of Lightning? He just completely ignored the existence of Lightning. And just assume that everybody is going to want to trade their Bitcoin for a centralized shitcoin that can be censored and has no cap. I don't understand. Obviously doesn't have, the immaculate conception of Bitcoin and wasn't actually created to serve a purpose except to pump the bags.
Clearly, he's still butthurt about losing the fork war, because he was on the side of the big blocks and he was a big proponent of it. And he's been very vocal about how he feels like Bitcoin has gone in the wrong direction, and he inserts a lot of narratives in there, right? Look, the fact is that yes, the mining subsidy, right? They are going to be cut in half, but how the Bitcoin network is designed, it's really designed to go up in value, right? As long as central banks keep debasing the money, right, Bitcoin goes up in value, right? It is the scarcest asset, right, that has ever been known to the history of mankind. It is backed by the largest, decentralized computing network around the world, and it's incentivized, right? It incentivizes other miners to come back on the network, making the hash rate go higher, making the value proposition go higher, so that eventually, right, when the subsidies get to such a small amount, right, again, the miners themselves are just going to make enough by the fees alone. Now, why am I saying this, right? If you look at how much miners have made over time in terms of USD income, it's actually gone higher, right? It hasn't gone lower, even though the subsidy has been cut in half approximately every 4 years, right? So there's a lot of false narratives there, and also, this idea that you could kind of guess what the fuck is going to happen in 2061, much less to 2100, right? We could blow ourselves up, we could get hit by an asteroid, right? Let's take it one goddamn day at a time.
So, and to your point, right? Before we go over to Jordan for his comment on this, to your point, I went to go dig on the Bitcoin talk. I went to the nakamotoinstitute.org site, right, to the Bitcoin talk pages, which is all of Satoshi's, original back and forth and threads. You could see this. This is from bitcoin.org. This is from the Bitcoin talk, the message board with Satoshi going back and forth. And of course, these questions, it's not like they didn't come up. And, here, he even said it right here. Because in a few decades, when the reward gets too small, the transaction fee will become the main compensation for nodes.
I think that's
and
what I
again,
just said.
Exactly. No, that's my point. But I just like to show the receipt of, hey, here's the original piece, like from the Bitcoin, the Bitcoin talk message forum.
Oh, no. I didn't mean it that way. I meant it like, no, of course, show what Satoshi said. I'm not saying that.
He agrees.
But it's like, dude, it's what I'm sorry. That came off super like egotistical, whatever. Put that aside. I meant to say it in the way that like, it's fucking obvious. No shit, that's what's gonna happen, right? It's literally designed. It's in the goddamn protocol. But
that's
but yeah,
so disingenuous, right?
Thank you for showing the receipts, though, Phil. Because one thing is it's coming from Nico, one thing is coming from Satoshi. So shout out, Phil.
But like, man, it's like that. That's why it's so disingenuous from Gavin, right?
Yes.
It's just ridiculous. Like he packed like 6 narratives in there that make no sense, that only exist in his world. So, yep. Jordan, what are your thoughts?
Man, that's all like the rap stuff and everything. You anytime you do that, you're hoping that the person that's doing the rapping and setting up that token does what they say they're going to do. There's no telling that there's going to. And if you have institutions holding Bitcoin and these people are taking this Bitcoin in, supposedly going to burn it, and they just slide it into their own wallet, what happens to that rap coin? It's worthless. And they already got your coins.
Yep,
Good
you're
point.
exactly right. And it's crazy because it's exactly what Phil said. Like he conveniently left out, how as the price goes up, right? The fees themselves are going to be able to support the miners, as we've seen historically, right?
And that has a lot to do with the value that's why the value changes with the halvings.
Yeah, of course.
And increases with the halvings because the miners have to make a certain amount of money, otherwise they're not going to do it. So they're not going to they're going to sit there and load their bag up, and then they're going to wait till it's valuable enough for them to, sell it and recoup their expenses and make their money. And that's just how that, it's how the whole process works. But they have to make a certain amount of money, otherwise nobody's going to do it.
Absolutely. It causes a supply shock. That's essentially what happens, right? Yeah. The same amount of buyers, right, happen to be there, but right, the amount of Bitcoin being dropped on the market gets cut in half, which is why the price tends to go up, right? Historically speaking, that's what it's happened. We still believe the bull market is going on, right? Let's see if it follows that historical pattern. No one knows. But anyways, Phil, awesome fail. You brought the receipts. You bought the receipts from frickin' Satoshi. There's no better receipts than that, okay? Anyways, Phil, it's time for
the Daily Meme Review, sponsored by
Citadel 21. All right, everybody, the meme for today is brought to us by Aldegari, I can't pronounce it. Anyways, 4 years I was an NPC, then I joined Bitcoin Twitter, took the orange pill, and woke up from, I'm going to add a word, the fiat matrix. Blows my mind looking back to what my views were and how I might have been today had I not taken that fork in the road. And there is before, they're showing the NPCs. I am one of those people. Phil, I think Phil was one of those people. He had a little bit more wisdom, but I was definitely one of those people. And Bitcoin gave me purpose again. Anyways, moving on to the next meme. God damn it, Greg. I might have to blur this one out a little bit, but this relates to the news that we're going to cover today. It's Strike, Bitcoin,
Greg and the Spice,
and Twitter. And let's move on to the next one. Is by Jack Ballers, and this is in relation to his announcement. He went on CNBC, now he's going on Bloomberg, but I love his enthusiasm. I'm not fucking leaving. Back on the big screen, to announce, the total destruction of Western Union. We'll get to that in a bit, right? And he said, can't stop, won't stop. Hoodie, empty closet, hoodie, Crocs, I'm ready to go. Let's go. And he puts the Wolf of Wall Street, and he links, his announcement. But anyways, amazing memes by Jack Ballers, Aldegur, and another fellow plebe.
Adele Gary.
Adele Gary, thank you, Phil. Thank you.
My pleasure.
I really appreciate it. See, this is simply Bitcoin. Nico and Phil. It would be a disaster. It would be like every episode on fire if it was just Nico. So, anyways, for that, I'm going to give it very special scores. I'm going to get him my BitVault shoes.
Ooh.
Yeah, dude. I got BitVault shoes. It's my mining company. And I got the BitVault logo on Vans just because looks cool. Anyways, Phil, what about you?
I love Vans Customs. Very, very well done. Very well done. Yeah, so look, great memes. And for that, I think especially with the Jack Ballers announcement, I think it's very fitting. I'm giving it, this is the first Bitcoin Lightning node case I ever made.
Nice.
That's right. Yep. That was the first one, my first Raspberry Pi that I ever made out of metal.
It actually looks pretty badass. I like that it's so sturdy, right?
Yep. It's actually the case itself is fireproof. So
wow.
I mean, because it's essentially what it is it's a case for an access control panel that I just completely gutted and instead put Raspberry Pi and then cut out a hole for the screen. Dude. And then covered up my mistakes by putting a frame around it. See?
Ah.
So it looks really good, and you can't see any of my mistakes.
So we got some BitVault Vans, some a fireproof node, and Jordan. What would you give those memes?
I had mini AES 256 hard drive here.
Oh.
I don't know if you can see it or not.
But it looks like a phone case when you tilt it.
Your heart.
It's encrypted, right? You have to put in a pin.
Encrypted.
You have to put in a pin.
You plug it in, you put your key code in, and then it decrypts, and you can use it.
Yep.
Otherwise, it's trash. You can't get anything out of it.
Love it, man. I love that.
I have a little contribution here for the meme review. You ready for this?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Oh, hang on a second. It's gonna.
Nico's gonna have to cut
It
this
worked
out.
the first time I tried it. Let's see. No, it's not gonna do it. There it is.
Oh, look at that! Laser eyes added to it.
Yep.
Sweet.
Have fun staying poor, man. I like it.
Respect.
I like it. I appreciate it. I'm blushing right now. Like it. I appreciate the plebs that put it together. He put the laser eyes all to. I'm just going to start replying to shitcoiners on the comment. Sometimes I get enticed. I usually like to stay out of it. Really, I would really appreciate it. Usually I like to stay out of Twitter politics, but sometimes I do get into some bouts with some shitcoiners and communists. More so with the communists. But that image is definitely going to be useful. I'm just going to drop it in there, just mute the conversation and just walk away. But anyways, guys, do you agree with our mic drop? Exactly. Guys, do you agree with our scores? Do you disagree? Let us know down in the comments. And of course, join our Telegram group. Link us some memes to review. Because it's a Bitcoin meme review. And we need memes to review. Anyways, Phil, it's time for
The Daily News, sponsored by
Crypto Cloaks.
Yo, we're here in Chicago. And we've got David here in a Starbucks in El Salvador. David has his Strike account linked to his Twitter account, and we're gonna make a free, instant cash final remittance payment over Twitter. So I'm gonna go search David's Twitter account on my phone. I'm gonna find his tips button, and I'm gonna send David $10 over Twitter for changing the world. It's gonna open my non-custodial Lightning Moon wallet. Anyone in the world can download, and I'm just gonna hit send. And boom. We just made an instant free remittance payment from Chicago, Illinois, USA to San Salvador, El Salvador over Twitter. Why would anyone ever use Western Union again? When you take one of the world's largest social internet networks and you combine it with the world's best open monetary network, Twitter accidentally becomes one of the best remitting experiences in the world. This one singular payment standard and this one singular open monetary global monetary network is dematerializing all existing monetary networks. Western Union, pawn to E4, your move.
Man, Jack Ballers dropping the freaking mic, dude. And I just want to I want to there's a detail that maybe you guys missed, right? In the tipping in the Twitter app, guess what standard they were using? They were using sats.
I saw.
They were using sats.
Yeah.
So again, we told you this on Simply Bitcoin, the migration to sats is necessary. That unit bias really hurts noobs and no coiners because they feel like they want to own some part of something, even though that part of something could be a shitcoin. Anyways, this was Jack's Medium post, and he explains kind of more of his logic behind this, right? He says, on its face, it may seem like Twitter has simply added another payment network to their tips product. This payment network is no PayPal. It solves one of Twitter's largest problems and addresses one of the most outdated problems for the World Wide Web as a whole. What the hell am I talking about? Well, Twitter built one product that anyone in the world could use called Twitter. Using Twitter, I can tweet at someone in Central America. That person in Central America can tweet at someone in Europe, and that person in Europe could tweet at someone in Africa, and so on and so forth. Anyone in the world can tweet at anyone in the world. Anyone in the world can receive tweets from anyone in the world. Communication between users on Twitter is instant, free, and borderless. I want you guys to pay attention to the last part. Okay, because Jack is being strategic here. Communication between users on Twitter is instant, free, and borderless. The future of money is going to be borderless, nearly free, and instant, right? The reason that he's not head-on attacking, right, the powers that be, the regulators and the thing, is because he's being strategic. He's incepting people with accumulating Bitcoin, accumulating sats, taking the orange pill themselves, and then by them taking the orange pill, understanding that the bureaucracy that Gary Gensler said was necessary yesterday is no longer necessary under a Bitcoin standard. So Jack is being very smart here, right? Pay attention to the words because there's a lot of signal there. Now, to continue. Now, Twitter users can communicate linguistically in an instant, free, and borderless fashion. There it is again, that language. However, can they communicate financially while achieving those same properties? The language again. Simple answer, no. Now, extrapolate. I can't read that word, Phil. What is it?
Extrapolate.
Thank you. Nico can't read. If you're new to the channel, well, now you know. English is my third language. Suck it up. This idea to any internet company, Facebook, TikTok, Google, etc., and you realize the open standard of communication that is so important in connecting and connecting us all doesn't have a financial counterpart to close the loop. Internet companies can't deliver financial experiences to their users on a singular global standard in the same way they can for communication. That is until now. And of course, the monetary system that they're going to use, better said, the monetary network that they're going to use is Bitcoin, because it has the sufficient amount of decentralization and it has this sufficient amount of energy and hash rate backing it to withstand any nation state attack. We have a great example of the China Bitcoin mining ban, right? So this is an absolute game changer. And if you know how free markets work, and because all of the other social media platforms are public companies as well, they will have no choice but to follow suit. So you can you can envision a world, right, where on YouTube, for example, they like your channel, they like your video, smash that like button, subscribe. You could have direct tips, to Simply Bitcoin or to other favorite YouTube channels that you have, right? So this is a total game changer, right? And again, he's being super strategic in the way that he's approaching it, because his disguise is essentially saying, listen, this isn't Bitcoin the commodity per se, but we're using the Bitcoin rails. Right. So again, that's a kind of a way to kind of, go around the regulators, because you could make the excuse, right? You're saying, listen, I could be sending you, dollars from the United States to dollars to El Salvador, and it's not touching Bitcoin, the commodity. It's just using the Bitcoin rails. But again, it's still incepting people with the idea, right, of self-sovereignty, right? And again, once that idea is out of the bottle, once they realize that fiat is stealing from them, right, those regulators, that really top-heavy bureaucracy of the industrial nation state is going to have to start answering why they are entitled to the monopoly of the creation of money. Why? Why are they allowed to do that, and why can't we? Why can't the free market decide what currency we use? Why are you enforcing that on us, especially if you live in the US? This is supposedly a free country. What's going on with that, right? So very, very intelligent moves from Jack. Absolutely mind-blowing news. This is the future, what you saw right there. And Jack, just one more criticism, dude, listen, all you got to do is this, okay? Last two videos, for some reason you like the vertical, you do the horizontal, it makes much better video. Anyways, Phil,
this is some good pointers. So I think that Jack, Twitter Jack, right, with that announcement, okay, because there's the two Jacks, so this is all going to get very confusing. But I think that Twitter pretty much just told everyone that Bitcoin is the internet of money, without saying it's the internet of money. They just described everything that that actually fills all of those details in. So I mean, look, I think that this is great. I think it's absolutely. I think it's hilarious also at the same time, because why didn't they choose a shitcoin? If Lightning doesn't work, why are they using Lightning? Why are they using Bitcoin? Right? It's like, because you always hear this crap from these some of these losers in BSV and stuff like that, and it's like, oh yeah, El Salvador didn't really make it legal tender, and even today these people are still ripping their faces off saying it's not a legal tender, and all this stuff, and and then you've got the Lightning deniers, right? Like we just saw with Gavin's story of the future, that for some reason neglects to include the most important innovation on Bitcoin. I'll just ignore that so that I can write my story and this will make sense. So it again, these guys, Jack and Jack, I think are at this point, they are in sync and they are sharing a brain, and this is, it's working, this is actually really cool. And look, I mean, he makes a good point about, the borderless, permissionless money. That's something that we do not have, and that's very difficult. That, yes, we do now have because of Bitcoin. But at the end of the day, this is the only true monetary network that can do what it proposes to do in the way that it proposes to do it, with sufficient decentralization and security. So, yep, good luck to the shitcoiners.
And also good luck to fiat, because pay attention.
Sorry, they're all in the same group for me.
They are. This is the same thing, same shit, essentially. Same shit, essentially. Pay attention to the language. Borderless, frictionless communication, and that's what he envisions for money as well. You could surmise what that means, but at the same time, right, you know, and Jack likes chess, right? You have to be strategic. You know, you can't just go full on, you know, attack. Say it's the central bankers, it's the fiat. No, he's being very, very strategic and smart about this, right? He's exposing people with the Bitcoin rails, showing them that it's a better system, showing them that you don't lose value in Bitcoin, and then over time, right, what's going to happen is a critical mass of the population is going to be orange pilled. And then they're going to start asking a lot of hard questions that the central bankers are not going to be able to answer. Anyways, Jordan, what do you think about this incredible announcement? This historic day, another one.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one more step in the right direction. It's really just as simple as it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, the more people that get exposed to that and more people that start using it, the sooner, you know, it becomes the norm, not just the exception.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. But anyways, Phil, it's there was a software release today. Why don't you tell everybody about it?
Software releases. We've got Sparrow Wallet version 1.5.0. That is a Bitcoin wallet. Super cool. Hear a lot of good things about it. That is down below in the show notes. Check it out. I should check it out too.
Awesome. Thank you, Phil. All right, guys, that was our show. I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. You can check out CryptoCloaks.com for the best 3D printed Bitcoin merch. Get yourself a Bitcoin grenade, 10% link. 5% link down below. Click it. You get 5% off anything on the store. Check out Citadel21.com for the Bitcoin cultural scene. It's Bitcoin news by plebs, for plebs. Get yourself a physical copy. There's only 1,000 made. Phil and I have written articles for them. Really cool. Check it out, Citadel21.com. And of course, Pirate Hash. Check it out. There's really cool Bitcoin trinkets, right? There's like these posters, right? It has the whole Bitcoin source code. Really cool stuff. I know there's a board game as well. It's by the guy that designed the UI for BIS. Really cool stuff. Again, piratehash.com. I want to give a shout out also to our awesome guest. Go give him a follow at Black Flag Marine. His name is Jordan. Thank you so much for joining us. And guys, that was our show. If you enjoyed the show, you know what to do. Smash the like button. And of course, if you want to continue hearing the catastrophic fails from the fiat economist, I forgot Gavin, whatever his name is, and the Bitcoin news from the perspective, definitely consider subscribing, and we'll see you tomorrow, guys, for another episode of Simply Bitcoin.
Pawn to E4.